Teresa, revered worldwide as a symbol of compassion and selfless service, dedicated her life to the poorest of the poor. Her name evokes images of humility, kindness, and unwavering faith. Yet, as her life drew to a close, the beloved saint shared something that shook those closest to her, a secret that revealed the depth of her humanity and the complexity of her relationship with God. What could someone as holy and devoted as Mother Teresa possibly carry as a secret? Was it a revelation about her personal struggles, her mission, or perhaps the spiritual battles she faced in her lifetime? And how does this secret challenge our understanding of faith, doubt, and perseverance? Join us as we uncover the haunting confession of Mother Teresa, exploring not only the weight of her words, but the powerful lessons they offer about living a life of purpose in the face of uncertainty. This is a story that will challenge your assumptions about sainthood, faith, and the extraordinary journey of a soul in search of God. The early years, a life devoted to love and service. Diving into Mother Teresa's startling revelation, it's important to understand the journey that shaped her. Born Agnes Gongsha Bojaksu in 1910 in what is now North Macedonia, she felt a call to religious life early on. At just 18, she joined the Sisters of Loreto, leaving behind her family to serve God. For years, she taught in India, but in 1946, she experienced what she described as a call within a call. This inner conviction led her to leave the comforts of her convent and serve the destitute and dying on the streets of Calcutta. From this moment on, her life became synonymous with radical charity. Her work garnered global recognition. She founded the Missionaries of Charity, an organization devoted to serving the poorest of the poor, and received countless accolades, including the Nobel Peace Prize in 1979. To the world, she was the embodiment of faith in action, a woman who seemed unshakable in her devotion to God. The hidden struggle, a dark night of the soul. However, as letters and writings from Mother Teresa later revealed, her external life of service often masked an internal struggle of profound doubt and spiritual dryness. These writings, compiled after her death, show that for decades, she wrestled with feelings of abandonment by God. In one letter, she wrote, "In my soul, I feel just that terrible pain of loss, of God not wanting me, of God not being God, of God not really existing." For many, this revelation was shocking. How could someone who appeared so steadfast in her faith, someone who spent her entire life serving in the name of God, harbor such deep doubts? But Mother Teresa's experience was not unique. It echoed the spiritual trials faced by many saints and faithful believers throughout history. The shocking confession before her death. Her Mother Teresa approached the end of her life in 1997. Her struggles with doubt did not fade. Yet, she made a startling confession to those closest to her, secret that encapsulated the paradox of her life. She admitted that despite her long, dark night of the soul, she had chosen to remain faithful. She confessed that her doubts were not evidence of God's absence, but an invitation to share in the suffering of Christ on the cross. "If I ever become a saint," she said, "I will surely be one of darkness. I will continually be absent from heaven to light the light of those in darkness on earth." These words revealed the depth of her spiritual insight. For Mother Teresa, doubt was not the opposite of faith, it was part of faith. Her perseverance, in the face of silence, became her ultimate act of trust in God. What this means for us. Lessons from Mother Teresa's secret. Mother Teresa's revelation challenges us to reconsider what it means to live a life of faith. Her struggles do not diminish her legacy. They make it more relatable and inspiring. Here are some key lessons we can draw from her confession. 1. Faith is not the absence of doubt. Mother Teresa's life teaches us that doubt is not a sign of weakness or failure. It is a natural part of the human experience, especially for those seeking a deep connection with God. Her decision to continue serving, despite her feelings of abandonment, is a testament to the power of faith as an active choice, rather than a passive feeling. 2. service as an expression of faith even in her darkest moments. Mother Teresa never stopped serving. She poured herself into caring for others, using her work as a way to encounter God. Her life reminds us that faith is often lived out through action, even when we feel spiritually dry. 3. Sharing in Christ's suffering. Mother Teresa's understanding of her struggles as a way of sharing in the suffering of Christ is a profound spiritual insight. It echoes Paul's words in Philippians 3:10, "I want to know Christ, yes, to know the power of his resurrection and participation in his sufferings." Her life shows us that faith is not always about joy and certainty, but about walking with Christ through pain and doubt. 4. Hope in the midst of darkness. Despite her struggles, Mother Teresa's life was a beacon of hope for millions. Her perseverance demonstrates that God's grace can sustain us even when we feel abandoned. She reminds us that our feelings do not define God's presence. He is with us, even in the silence. The enduring legacy of Mother Teresa. Mother Teresa's confession before her death adds a new dimension to her already extraordinary legacy. It shows that even the most devoted saints are human, facing the same struggles and questions that we all encounter. Yet, it is precisely in their perseverance that they become examples of faith. Her life challenges us to look beyond the surface of our spiritual journeys. It invites us to embrace the complexities of faith, to serve others even in our brokenness, and to trust in God's presence even when we cannot feel it. As we reflect on her life, let us remember that holiness is not about perfection, it's about surrender. And in surrendering our doubts, fears, and failures to God, we can find the strength to live lives of purpose and love, just as Mother Teresa did. The depth of Mother Teresa's struggles. Understanding the dark night. Mother Teresa's admission of her spiritual struggles, what she called her darkness, has left many people deeply moved, while others have felt puzzled or even shaken by the idea that someone so revered could wrestle with doubt. To fully grasp the significance of her confession, it's essential to understand the concept of the dark night of the soul, a term rooted in Christian mysticism, coined by St. John of the Cross in the 16th century. The dark night describes a period in a believer's life when they feel distant from God, even as they continue to seek Him. It is not a punishment, but a phase of spiritual purification. During this time, God seems absent, yet He is working deeply within the soul, stripping away attachments and drawing the believer into a deeper dependence on Him. For Mother Teresa, this dark night lasted decades. Her letters revealed that from 1948, shortly after she began her mission to the poor until her death in 1997, she experienced a profound sense of spiritual emptiness. She described feeling as though God was silent, distant, or even absent. "The silence and the emptiness is so great," she wrote in one letter, "that I look and do not see, listen and do not hear." Yet, despite these feelings, she never stopped praying, serving, and trusting in God. Her faithfulness in the midst of silence exemplifies a profound trust that transcends feelings, trust that defines true faith. Mother Teresa's secret. Faith in action amid silence. One of the most powerful aspects of Mother Teresa's revelation is her insistence that her struggles were not a sign of failure, but a unique part of her calling. She saw her spiritual darkness as a way of sharing in the suffering of the poor, who often felt abandoned and forgotten. Her work in Calcutta put her in daily contact with people who faced unimaginable hardships, hunger, disease, homelessness, and despair. By experiencing a sense of God's absence, Mother Teresa believed she could better empathize with the people she served. "I have come to love the darkness," she once wrote, "for I believe it is a very small part, of Jesus' darkness and pain on earth." This perspective reframes her struggles, showing them not as a lack of faith, but as a profound participation in Christ's mission. Through her silence, she bore witness to the truth that God is present even when He feels far away. Mother Teresa's faith, a reflection of the gospel. One of the most striking aspects of Mother Teresa's life was how closely it mirrored the teachings of Jesus Christ. Her struggles with faith, her tireless service, and her ultimate reliance on God's grace were not separate from the gospel, they were an embodiment of it. In Matthew 16:24-25, Jesus says, "If anyone would come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross, and follow me. For whoever would save his life will lose it, but whoever loses his life for my sake will find it." Mother Teresa's life was a living testimony to this verse. She took up her cross daily, sacrificing personal comfort and security to serve others. Her dark night of the soul can be seen as a reflection of the cross, itself a place of pain and apparent abandonment that ultimately leads to resurrection and redemption. The power of service in the face of doubt, even as she wrestled with feelings of abandonment by God. Mother Teresa never wavered in her commitment to serving the poor and the marginalized. For her, service was not just an act of charity, it was a sacred encounter with Christ. She often quoted Jesus' words from Matthew 25-40, "As you did it to one of the least of these, my brothers, you did it to me." This understanding fueled her work in the slums of Calcutta, where she cared for the sick, the dying, and the forgotten. She believed that every person, no matter how destitute or broken, bore the image of God and deserved to be treated with dignity and love. Her life challenges us to view service not as an optional part of faith, but as its very essence. Even when we feel spiritually dry, serving others can draw us closer to God, reminding us of His presence in the faces of those we help. The mystery of suffering, sharing in Christ's pain. Mother Teresa's spiritual darkness was not just a personal struggle, it was deeply tied to her understanding of suffering. She believed that her feelings of abandonment allowed her to share in the pain of Christ, who cried out from the cross, my God, why have you forsaken me?" Matthew 27-46. This connection to Christ's suffering gave her pain a redemptive purpose. She saw her darkness not as a punishment, but as a gift, an opportunity to unite her struggles with the suffering of Jesus and offer them for the salvation of others. This perspective echoes the teachings of Paul in Colossians 1:24. "Now I rejoice in my sufferings for your sake, and in my flesh I am filling up what is lacking in Christ's afflictions for the sake of his body, that is, the church." While these words may be difficult to understand, they point to a profound spiritual truth, that our suffering, when offered to God, can become a means of grace, not just for ourselves but for others. Faith in action. Practical lessons from Mother Teresa's life. Mother Teresa's life offers powerful lessons for how we can live out our faith, even in the face of doubt and difficulty. Here are a few practical takeaways. 1. Embrace humility. Mother Teresa often referred to herself as a pencil in the hand of God. She understood that her work was not about her, but about allowing God to use her for His purposes. This humility is a reminder that we, too, are called to surrender our plans and ambitions to God, trusting that He will work through us in ways we may not fully understand. 2. Serve without expectation. In a world that often measures success by recognition and results, Mother Teresa's life challenges us to serve selflessly. She cared for the poor and the dying, knowing that many of them would not survive. Her work was not about outcomes, but about faithfulness. 3. Persevere in prayer. Even when she felt distant from God, Mother Teresa never stopped praying. She clung to the discipline of prayer, trusting that God was present even in the silence. This perseverance reminds us that prayer is not about how we feel, it's about remaining connected to God, no matter our circumstances. 4. Find God in the ordinary. Mother Teresa often said, "Not all of us can do great things, but we can do small things with great love." Her ability to see God in the smallest acts of kindness challenges us to look for opportunities to serve in our daily lives, whether it's through a kind word, a generous gesture, or simply being present for someone in need. The global impact of her confession. When Mother Teresa's private letters were published after her death, they sparked a wide range of reactions. Some were inspired by her honesty, finding comfort in the fact that even a spiritual giant like her faced doubts. Others were unsettled, questioning how someone so closely associated with holiness could feel so distant from God. Yet, the global impact of her revelation cannot be overstated. It has opened up conversations about the nature of faith, the reality of doubt, and the meaning of holiness. Her confession reminds us that sainthood is not about being free from struggles. It's about persevering in the face of them. Her life continues to inspire people of all faiths and backgrounds to live with greater compassion, humility, and trust in God. Her example challenges us to confront our own doubts and fears, not as obstacles to faith, but as opportunities for growth. A saint of darkness and light, Mother Teresa once said, "If I ever become a saint, I will surely be one of darkness. I will continually be absent from heaven to light the light of those in darkness on earth." These words capture the paradox of her life. She was a woman of extraordinary light, bringing hope and love to millions. Yet she carried within her a profound darkness that shaped her relationship with God. Her willingness to embrace this darkness, to see it as part of her calling, and to continue serving despite it, is what makes her story so powerful. It is a reminder that holiness is not about perfection, but about perseverance. Mother Teresa's life challenges us to rethink what it means to follow Christ. Her struggles remind us that faith is not always easy, and doubt is not the enemy of belief. Instead, it is often in the moments of greatest uncertainty that we discover the depth of God's grace. As we reflect on her legacy, let us strive to live with the same humility, courage, and love that defined her life. Let us serve others selflessly, trusting that God is present even when He feels far away. And let us remember that our own struggles, like hers, can become a source of strength and a testament to the power of God's redeeming love. For in the words of Mother Teresa herself, the fruit of silence is prayer. The fruit of prayer is faith. The fruit of faith is love. The fruit of love is service. And the fruit of service is peace.